This to me looks like an initial breakup structure, and this to me looks like a wave 4. It acts like a wave 4, talks like a wave 4, walks like a wave 4. I was talking about this being a wave 4 for quite some time. So everything in our puzzle of trying to figure out what's going on with the chart tells me that the move down from 38K down back to where we're at now, the 36.5 region, is our initial breakup structure. And let me reiterate the idea that this is an impulsive wave. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. For those of you who know anything about Elliott wave theory, you understand that wave 1 typically acts in the same time frame as wave 2. We got that over here. Wave 3 is typically 1618 to 2 Fibonacci extensions of wave 1. We got that here. You can measure it on your own time. Wave 4 is typically complex if wave 2 is simple. Okay, and wave 4 is the only places you see triangles and complex flat corrections. So this is a complex flat correction up and to the right. Everything about this fits the bill. And then our initial breakup structure does what? It breaks down and retests or targets wave 4 of the previous trend. And it's actually not done. What do I expect from Bitcoin given what we just said in the immediate short term? So what I expect from Bitcoin in the immediate short term, given this theory, and it's just a theory, is it going to happen 100%? Absolutely not. Nothing's 100%. We don't know. But this is what I think. I think we're putting in an initial breakup structure. This is our A wave, A, B, C, and it looks something like this. If this happens in the coming hours, we can further have confidence in our theory of Bitcoin initiating a larger move to the downside. Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 13th, 2023. And I want to talk about something that's not going to be super popular in the cryptocurrency community, and that is the fact that we may be looking at a serious correction very soon. Okay, hear me out. So the question I posed myself when I was looking at the charts today, especially today, right? Last night I started thinking about it, but this morning and later on this afternoon, given the price action in Bitcoin and altcoins, I was like, okay, there may be something here. And the question I posed myself was 38,000 the local market top? Was 38,000 all that we should expect in terms of upside in the immediate short term? And my answer, if I have to be honest with myself as an analyst, is yes, and I'm going to tell you why that is. However, that's the bad news. Bad news first. Good news is that some altcoins may be closer to having already corrected, okay? And their corrections may not be as severe as Bitcoin's. So guys, if that interests you, then watch until the very end. Hope you're having a great day on this day. All right, let's get into it. Let's start off with Bitcoin. Okay, why am I saying was 38,000 the local market top? A few things, a few reasons. I'm going to turn on my indicator. I talked about this in the last analysis, right? I talked about the moon phases and the local market tops and local market bottoms. Now, I'm not going to go over the full analysis of moon phases, but by and large, full moons represent local market bottoms in financial markets, studies show, and new moons represent local market tops. And we got a new moon in and around the high of approximately 38,000, right? This blue circle that you see represents the new moon, and that was at 38K. That's the first reason I'm saying, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe that does represent a local market top. And then we should expect some sort of correction back to the next major support level. I said major support level, which is all the way down at 31. Okay. And that should come about towards the next local market bottom, the next full moon, which should be in approximately 2 weeks from now. So say at the end of November. Again, it's not all doom and gloom, and I'm going to tell you why, so stick with me. Okay, so that's the first reason. The second reason is if I look left, i.e. if I look at, let's get rid of this indicator and clean it up. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe as always. What I like to do is I like to look at, indicators are great, but price action first and foremost. And price action really gives you a lot of information. And so when you look left, when you look at what this price action really signifies, you can see that we're hitting our head up against this region of consolidation or distribution, whatever you want to call it. And that is significant, okay? That is significant. Let's draw a line around that. So 38,000 represents this area of consolidation in the chart, okay? So you should, and we did, expect some sort of resistance because our original target was around 42,700. So we're not that far off. And I'm going to say why that's also significant in a second. But, we did expect the market to reach significant resistance in and around this region. So down here is, I guess, very close to our original target, which is the yellow line up here at around 42,000. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is you're in the golden pocket. What do I mean by that? So if you, once again, look left, look at your context, the context of all of this price action, and you take your Fibonacci retracement tool from, let's say, the top of this move right here, the orthodox high at 69K, thereabouts, all the way to the orthodox low, which is about 17.5. Remember, not the nominal low, but the orthodox low. We use orthodox highs and lows to measure trends, okay? I'm not going to get into all of that, but you can look it up. In any case, look at where we're at. We're in the golden pocket. The area between the 0.5 and 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level is what we call the golden pocket. So sometimes when you're targeting the phi ratio or the golden pocket, you don't hit the phi ratio exactly. A lot of times you do, but not every single time. Sometimes you just come within this region, you retrace to this region, and that is the end of the move, okay? So we're in the golden pocket. We're pretty much in the middle of the golden pocket. So that tells me in some ways we did satisfy the idea of this move down, this impulse down, representing a significant resistance in and around the golden pocket, in and around the golden mean of that move down. Okay, so we talked about that and we said, theoretically we see that all the time. We should expect it again, right? By and large, and that's exactly what we got. Okay, so the third, I think we're on 3, right? The third and last reason, okay, and now let's zoom back in on the 4-hourly time frame. The third and final reason kind of ties in with reason number 1. And it goes back to the idea that I said, guys, it's very likely that within the next 2 days, I said this 2 days, like on the 10th-ish, I said it's very likely that within the next 2 days, and the next 2 days would be the full moon, or the new moon representing a local market top, that in the next few days we reach the high represented by 42,700, our target of this move to the upside for Bitcoin. And so it's highly likely with a high degree of probability that within the next 2 days, 48, 72 hours, whatever, we get a move in Bitcoin to the upside so that we can have a local market top. Well, what happened? Nothing. We just went sideways and a little down. So to me, the fact that that didn't happen and so it's not basically a rehash of reason number one. The price action on this move tells me it's an initial it's what do I call it? Sorry. It's an A wave, an initial break of structure. That's what it looks like, okay? It looks like an initial break of structure, and the fact that it came in and around the new moon and we didn't get an extra move up tells me a lot. If I want to be honest, a lot of times we have these ideas as traders, as analysts, and we don't want to look at it because it may not favor our portfolios. But if we're honest with ourselves, and that's the best way actually to make money in the long run, this looks like an initial break of structure. What's an initial break of structure? In Elliott wave theory, if you have a flat correction, something like this, like a run-of-the-mill ABC flat correction, right? The A wave is the initial break of structure. That is the first sign that you're initiating the corrective move. So if it's a break to the downside, that initial break of structure will break down and hit usually a wave 4 of the previous trend, right? And then come back up and then go back down. Okay, so this to me looks like an initial break of structure, and this to me looks like an initial break of structure, and this to me looks like a wave 4. It acts like a wave 4, talks like a wave 4, walks like a wave 4. I was talking about this being a wave 4 for quite some time. So everything in our puzzle of trying to figure out what's going on with the chart tells me that the move down from 38K down back to where we're at now, the 36.5 region, is our initial break of structure. And let me reiterate the idea that this is an impulsive wave. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. For those of you who know anything about Elliott wave theory, you understand that wave 1 typically acts in the same time frame as wave 2. We got that over here. Wave 3 is typically 1618 to 2 Fibonacci extensions of wave 1. We got that here. You can measure it on your own time. Wave 4 is typically complex if wave 2 is simple. Okay, and wave 4 is the only places you see triangles and complex flat corrections. So this is a complex flat correction up and to the right. Everything about this fits the bill. And then our initial break of structure does what? It breaks down and retests or targets wave 4 of the previous trend. And it's actually not done. What do I expect from Bitcoin given what we just said in the immediate short term? So what I expect from Bitcoin in the immediate short term, given this theory, and it's just a theory, is it going to happen 100%? Absolutely not. Nothing's 100%. We don't know. But this is what I think. I think we're putting in an initial break of structure. This is our A wave, A, B, C, and it looks something like this. If this happens in the coming hours, we can further have confidence in our theory of Bitcoin initiating a larger move to the downside. Okay? Because we're breaking structure here. Instead of in an impulse, you don't break structure. You continue to maintain higher highs and higher lows. You may make retracements. That's not a problem. But each and every single one of those retracements never breaks the 0.618 of the previous trend. If you come down below this low right here, right, which is approximately the phi ratio of this move up, you're breaking structure officially, and officially you're in a highly likely initial break of structure, which should look in the aggregate, right, on the higher time frames, something like this. Whoops, let's try that again. That was terrible. You know what? Let's get the tools out. We don't pay for premium subscriptions in TradingView to draw garbage like that. Let's try this. I don't think that you guys are that impatient that you won't let me put this in properly. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Something like this. Boom. 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 Okay. And let's now make the lines on there. Let's make it white, not Halloween colors. And let's make the lines opaque. Okay. Something like this. And remember, if this indeed is what we think it is, a proper impulse, then the time that this took should be more or less the time that this takes, because that's how you do a proper wave 1, wave 2. So this kind of is where we can segue into the good news. So bad news is Bitcoin within the next 24, 26 days is likely to put in a major corrective move, okay? And that, if we're correct, should take us back to the next major level of support, which is around 31K. There's two pieces of good news about that. Number one, the really good news is that you're making a proper retest of previous resistance as support, which should enable you to continue. It should enable you to continue much, much higher. Okay? That's one part of the good news. The second part of the good news is that in the time that Bitcoin is going to, I can't talk and clean at the same time. I want to take this off because I don't think we need that anymore. Okay, in the time that Bitcoin is putting in this distributive wave, and remember, these things do not happen overnight. When you do get a dump, what is usually preceding a dump, I just wanted to get rid of this. Okay, what usually precedes a dump is a distributive pattern. So what you're going to see with a high degree of probability, if we're correct with our Bitcoin is in distribution right now, Bitcoin has topped out at 38K in this local market move, is you're going to see a lot of sideways price action between where we're at now, 38, and maybe you can even make a higher high here with the B wave, right? You can even come higher like this. You can go up to your 40, let's see, how high can you go? It depends how low you go. Let's say you can go up to the 40K region. And I think that'll happen because a lot of people want it to. And they're buyers of Bitcoin at this point in the market at, towards the end of the year. You're going to likely see this A wave come down here to the base of this wave 4. And then you're going to see some consolidation. You're going to see the B wave go all the way up to 40K. But again, B waves can make higher highs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the trend is back in. The savvy investors, the savvy analysts understand that that's what we call a false rally, okay? And you're waiting for the end of the distribution and then you get the big move. But in the time that Bitcoin's chopping between these areas here of 35 and 40K, you're going to get altcoins pop off. That's where I want to go next with this analysis. Okay, so bad news is, careful, Bitcoin may not necessarily be targeting our target, and it's pretty much close to the end anyway. We can make higher highs, but You shouldn't necessarily be a buyer of Bitcoin here because you're just going to get caught in a distributive pattern, which is not anywhere you want to be trading. Okay, but good news is you want to look at altcoins anyways because it's likely altcoin season, as evidenced by our Bitcoin dominance chart, which shows us on the very high time frame, on the weekly time frame, that Bitcoin dominance is coming down, i.e. altcoins are gaining against Bitcoin in the aggregate. On the small time frame, however, what we're saying is that you're likely going to get a move down in the market as Bitcoin and that initial breakup structure comes down to wave 4 of the previous trend. And altcoins will also come down quite severely because look at what Bitcoin dominance is doing here. Bitcoin dominance is in a falling wedge, which should break up and out to where do falling wedges target? Falling wedges target the top of the move. So Bitcoin dominance is likely to come around this area right here, 53.5% before consolidating and going back down. This is where I want to be a buyer of altcoins, not until Bitcoin dominance reaches that target of 53.5%. Okay, that's one reason you see, or that's one indication that you can see, the market is going down and altcoins are going down with it. The other one, and the really clear and almost irrefutable evidence of what we're saying is this chart. Okay, and I didn't pull up the Stochastic RSI on the Bitcoin chart, but you can as well, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Look, I didn't sort of point it out. I pulled it up, but I didn't point it out. So Bitcoin dominance, look what, the Stochastic RSI momentum indicator on the weekly time frame is showing you that we're topped out. Okay, I know Stochastic RSI in a trending market is not always reliable, but you have to sort of know when to, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Nothing's 100%. So even these indicators don't tell you 100% of what's going on, but it's likely that we are topped out here and that this weekly Stochastic RSI momentum indicator has to come back down to reset, and that's going to take some time. Okay, anyway, back to altcoins. And by the way, I'm looking at the total 2 chart, which is the aggregate chart of altcoins, and we're on the daily time frame here. Okay, and let's zoom out actually so people can really understand what we're doing here. So what we're doing in altcoins is we just broke 500 days of resistance, and I think that what we're looking to do, at least in some measure, is come back and test it as support. Now, we didn't do this. We haven't really done this on a high time frame. And does that mean that we don't go to $1 trillion and do it again? I still think we do it again once we get to $1 trillion, but it's going to be retested probably on a small time frame and on a large time frame. So on the small time frame, we go on the daily time frame, and what do you see here? Look at this. So the daily time frame shows you a bunch of doji candles. Doji candles are candles where the candle body is small and the wicks are large. That indicates indecision. Okay, and another way to read that is basically it's a channel. It's a channel with the nexus or the midpoint of the channel in and around the candle body. And so you're essentially looking at some sort of distribution. These can also sometimes be a wave 4 channel, right? And then break up. So be careful. But if we're looking at a distribution, right, and it's supposed to come down, that's what it would look like on the daily time frame. And so this is also what it would look like on the Stochastic RSI, right? Something like this. So I believe with a high degree of probability, given what we're seeing in Bitcoin dominance, given what we're seeing in Bitcoin, that altcoins are going to move right back down, retest this 500-day support or 500-day resistance as support before moving back up. Okay, and this is where I want to be a buyer of altcoins. So be very careful. But the good news in altcoins is the way down is a lot less than what you see in Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has to come all the way back down to 31. It's probably going to take some time. Altcoins are pretty much, but let's see, let's measure. They're pretty much 8% of the way from that resistance that they just broke. So it's not that big a deal, okay? But I still do think that that is likely happening, okay? What you can also get, and I want to say this from the outset, is instead of just thinking of one retest, a lot of times, in my experience, what you get is a compounded retest. So you may get some, so this total 2 chart, you may want to be careful, even after this first retest, be careful that this isn't a B-wave false rally, and then you're not coming back to retest it again properly, okay? Be mindful of that. In my experience, I've seen that so many times, more times than I could count, lost money on that more times than I can count. So I would personally be wary of that in looking at this chart. Okay, the last or the final chart that I want to look at is our US dollar currency index. And so our thesis in this video is saying that Bitcoin has reached the local market top. We're likely looking at some distribution before an earnest move up, okay? And Bitcoin dominance is telling us that. The total 2 chart for altcoins is telling us that. And the DXY is also kind of telling us that. What does the DXY tell us? On the immediate short term, on the 4-hourly time frame, we look like we're bottoming down, okay? We look like we got to move, a consolidation, a consolidation, okay? What do you know about corrective patterns? They come in threes. Elliott wave tells us corrective patterns come in threes. This looks like some sort of impulse or some sort of move up. Yeah, impulse. This looks like a corrective pattern that is sort of that's paired with this move up. And so it looks like this is a B, C move, or W, X, Y, whatever you want to call it. But the more I look at this, and the more I look at this gap that we know has to be filled, and the more I'm thinking, oh, maybe that's going to be filled sooner than we think. Because we said before that that gap was unlikely to be filled anytime soon. Because I thought this was coming down like this. Given this price action right here, I think we go up, fill this gap first, then go back down. So that may be also another thing you want to wait for before anticipating up only price action. So that's just my analysis. Again, all the analysis I ever do is based off of what I'm seeing, and my process is always and always has been, with more information, I further refine my analysis, my reads on the markets, and that's what I'm going to do. But this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm thinking at this point. But you know, altcoins, some altcoins, given what we've experienced in the past few hundred days, don't be surprised if some altcoins are ready before others. So you may, as an investor, a speculator, prepare yourself for some altcoins being ready before all of this happens, right? You don't want to just wait and think, okay, once that happens with Bitcoin, once that happens with the DXY, then I'll be... No, you want to look at all your investments individually. And so this is where this can be tricky. Like Blur, for instance, I'm pulling up because it's proven to be one of the early movers in this market, in this move up, okay? And what I'm seeing with Blur is another sort of the beginning of a distribution, and this may very well come back down faster than other assets, okay? It may not even come down that far. It may come down here, right? Like this. But, you know, I would watch out for individual altcoins to complete their retests, to complete their distributions before Bitcoin, before everything else. And that may be another great opportunity to get involved in before all this happens. So guys, that's all I've got for you. Again, we'll refine this. We'll keep looking at this. We'll keep an eye on this move. But be careful, be careful, be careful. The market's looking distributed. Hope that was helpful. Hope that was useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. And I'll see you later. Bye.
I'll be